You wake up each morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, there is a weight pressing down on your chest. It isn't something people can see when they look at you. To others, you may appear fine, composed, maybe even strong. But you know the truth, that you carry something heavy, something unspoken. It could be the worry of unpaid bills, the ache of loneliness, the memory of mistakes you wish you could erase, or the endless pressure of trying to be strong when inside you feel like you're crumbling. This invisible weight doesn't leave when you smile, it doesn't vanish when you distract yourself with work, and it certainly doesn't disappear just because you tell yourself to be strong.
And maybe you're tired of pretending you're okay. Maybe you're exhausted from showing the world a face that doesn't match how you feel inside. You've tried to convince yourself that you're fine, but deep down you know you're struggling. There are nights when sleep won't come, when your mind replays every worry like a broken record. There are mornings when you wonder how long you can keep pushing forward, pretending that nothing is wrong.
You might look around and see people who seem to have it all together, and that only deepens your pain. Why does it seem so easy for them while you're drowning? Why do their lives appear smooth, while yours feels like an uphill climb with no end in sight? You wonder if anyone even notices the battle you're fighting silently, if anyone understands the depth of what you carry. But I want to tell you something, your struggles are not a sign of weakness. That weight you carry is proof of your resilience. Every morning that you rise, despite the heaviness, you are showing strength greater than you give yourself credit for. You may think you are barely holding on, but even in those moments, you are managed courage. Because to continue walking when life feels unbearable is one of the bravest acts of all. Perhaps you've been waiting for answers, for relief, for some kind of breakthrough that still hasn't arrived. And waiting can be one of the hardest forms of pain. It feels like standing in the middle of a storm with no idea when the sky will finally clear. Each day that passes without change makes the burden feel heavier, and hope begins to fade. You wonder if things will ever improve, if your story will ever shift towards something brighter. That uncertainty eats away at you, making the silence louder, the emptiness deeper. But here is what I need you to understand. This chapter of waiting, this moment of struggle, is not the end of your story. The very weight you feel now is shaping you in ways you cannot yet see. It is building patience, endurance, empathy, and wisdom. It is teaching you to find strength not in easy days, but in the hardest ones. And while you may feel forgotten, you are not invisible. The unseen work happening inside you, the resilience you're slowly cultivating, will become the very thing that carries you forward when the next chapter begins to unfold. Think of the times in your past when you faced difficulties you thought you couldn't survive. Remember how hopeless those moments felt. Yet here you are, breathing, listening, alive. Somehow you made it through things that once felt unbearable. You might not even realize how much you've grown, how much stronger you've become because of those storms. This weight you carry now may feel new, sharper, heavier, but just as before, it will not last forever. It's okay if you don't have all the answers right now. It's okay if you feel broken, uncertain, or even angry at life. What matters is that you keep holding on, one day at a time. Healing isn't about pretending to be okay. It's about giving yourself permission to feel, to rest, to breathe, and to trust that your struggles have meaning beyond the pain. There will come a time when the heaviness begins to lift. It won't be all at once. It will happen slowly, almost unnoticed, like the way dawn creeps in after a long, dark night. First a faint glow on the horizon, then a softening of shadows, and eventually light flooding every corner. You may not realize it when it happens, but one day you'll look back and see how far you've come, how the weight that once defined you no longer controls you. And while you wait for that dawn, remember this: you are not alone. Even when people fail to notice your pain, even when the world seems blind to your struggles, you are seeing. Every tear, every silent prayer, every moment of endurance, it all matters. Your journey has meaning even when you can't yet see the destination. So tonight, as you reflect on the weight you carry, I want you to take a deep breath and remind yourself this heaviness is not forever. You are allowed to rest, you are allowed to cry, you are allowed to feel the weight of it all. But do not believe the lie that this is the end. Your story is still unfolding, and the very pain you carry now will one day become part of your strength. A chapter that proves how deeply you endured and how brightly you rose. This is where your journey begins. Not in perfection, not in easy answers, but in honesty. In admitting the heaviness, in allowing yourself to be human, in daring to believe that even in struggle there is hope. And as we move forward together, we will explore what it means to wait, to endure, and to grow through the silence. Because this weight, as heavy as it feels, is not here to destroy you. It is here to prepare you for what's coming next. Waiting is one of the hardest battles you will ever fight, because it doesn't have clear rules. It doesn't give you timelines, and it doesn't tell you how long it will last. It lingers like an unanswered question, hanging over your heart, leaving you in a constant state of uncertainty. When you are in this space of waiting, life feels like it has paused, yet the world keeps moving without you. You watch others take steps forward, new opportunities, new joys, new chapters, while you remain in the in-between, silently asking yourself when it will finally be your turn. There is a strange kind of pain in waiting, because it isn't just about time passing. It's about the weight of not knowing. You might be waiting for healing, for stability, for love, for peace, or simply for the burden on your shoulders to feel light. And every day that passes without change makes you wonder if you are being overlooked. If the silence around you is a sign that nothing good is coming. You question your worth, your effort, your place in the world, because waiting can feel like punishment when you don't yet see the purpose behind it. But what if the waiting itself is shaping you in ways you can't yet measure? What if this pause is not a punishment, but a preparation? Think about it. Every season of waiting you've endured in your life has taught you something you wouldn't have learned otherwise. Waiting forces you to confront yourself, to face the restlessness inside, to build patience when your soul is craving instant relief. It slows you down long enough to notice things you usually overlook. Your own strength, your own resilience, your own quiet ability to endure when the world feels uncertain. And yet, I know how deeply it hurts. Waiting makes you feel powerless, as if you are standing at a closed door, knocking until your hands grow sore, but hearing nothing from the other side. You wonder if anyone hears you at all. The silence becomes louder than any noise, filling your mind with doubts. Maybe you tell yourself that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not lucky enough. Maybe you replay every mistake you've made, convincing yourself that this delay is your fault. The weight of self-blame can crush you even more than the waiting itself. But pause here for a moment. What if this silence isn't abandonment, but protection? What if the door is still closed because on the other side, things are not yet ready? You wouldn't plant a seed today and demand that it bloom tomorrow. You would water it, nurture it, and wait for its season. And in the same way, there are seasons in your life that require patience. There are chapters that cannot be rushed. There are blessings that only unfold when the time is right. The challenge, of course, is that waiting feels endless when you're in the middle of it. Nights stretch longer. Days blur together and your heart aches for change. You find yourself asking questions with no answers. How much longer? Why me? Will it ever get better? Those questions circle around in your mind until exhaustion sets in and you begin to wonder if it's worth hoping at all. But I want you to hold on to this. The waiting is not wasted. Every day you endure is not just another empty page. It is shaping your story in ways that matter, even if you can't yet see.
Think of the countless people who gave up right before their breakthrough, who let despair convince them that change would never come. They never saw how close they were to the moment they longed for. And maybe that is you right now, standing on the edge of something you can't yet see. Maybe the silence you hate so much is the space where your strength is quietly forming, where your endurance is being carved, where your soul is learning to bend without breaking.
Waiting doesn't have to be a place of despair. It can become a place of transformation if you choose to see it differently. Instead of focusing on what hasn't changed, focus on what is being built inside you. Instead of asking, when will this end? Try asking, what is this teaching me? It may not take away the ache, but it will shift the way you carry it. It will remind you that even in the waiting, you are not standing still. You are growing roots deeper than before. And here's the beautiful thing about roots. You don't see them forming, but they are the very reason a tree stands strong when storms come. That's what waiting is doing for you. It is building unseen strength, so that when the time finally comes, you are ready not just to receive what you've been hoping for, but to sustain it, protect it, and flourish in it. Still, I know you may feel restless, maybe even angry, because waiting demands surrender. It demands that you release control. And that can feel unbearable when all you want is movement. But remember, surrender is not weakness, it's trust. Trust that your story is unfolding in ways you can't yet understand. Trust that the pauses in your life are not empty, they are purposeful. Trust that while you are waiting, you are being prepared for more than you imagine. So if tonight you find yourself weary, tired of waiting, tired of hoping, I want you to take a deep breath and remind yourself, this waiting is not forever. It is not meaningless. It is not proof that you have been forgotten. It is a space, a season, a test, but it will pass. And when it does, you will look back and realize that what felt like endless silence was actually the quiet work of transformation, shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and ready for the next chapter. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are exactly where you need to be right now, even if it doesn't feel like it. The waiting may feel heavy, but it is part of the story that will one day make sense. And until then, your only task is to keep breathing, keep enduring, and keep believing that something beyond this silence is waiting for you. Because in the end, waiting is not about emptiness, it is about becoming. And you, even in this season of uncertainty, are becoming more than you realize. And as you move through this long season of waiting, something begins to stir quietly inside you. You start to notice that even though life hasn't shifted the way you hoped, you are still standing, you are still breathing, you are still here. That in itself is strength, though it may not feel like it when your heart aches and your body is tired. Strength doesn't always look like bold victories or loud achievements. Sometimes it looks like simply surviving one more day, holding on when everything in you wants to let go, refusing to let despair claim the last piece of your spirit. That is strength too, and it matters more than you know. But strength is not only found in endurance, it is also found in the lessons hidden within the struggle itself. Every obstacle you face, every disappointment, every setback is teaching you something. The challenge is that pain blinds you to the lessons in the moment. It's only afterward, when the storm has passed, that you look back and realize how much you have grown. Think of the times you thought you couldn't go on, but did. Those moments carved something unshakable into your character, a quiet kind of courage that no one can take from you. When you're deep in the struggle, it can feel like the world is pressing down on you with no relief in sight. You may find yourself asking why life has to be so heavy, why it feels as though everything is stacked against you. And while it's natural to ask those questions, I want you to remember this. Struggle is not just an enemy, it can also be a teacher. Struggle refines you. It strips away illusions and forces you to face your truth. It shows you what you value most, what you're willing to fight for, and what you can live without. Perhaps right now you are learning how strong you truly are. Maybe you've always underestimated yourself, believing you're fragile, believing you can't handle much. But look at you. You've endured heartbreak. You've faced disappointments. You've carried burdens others will never know. And yet you are still here, still fighting, still searching for meaning in the middle of it all. That is not weakness. That is resilience. That is strength being born in the fire of your struggle. It's easy to admire people who shine after their storm has passed, when they stand tall, smiling, victorious. But the truest strength is found in the middle, when nothing is resolved, when the weight hasn't lifted, and yet you keep going anyway. That's where character is formed, in the dark, in the quiet, in the moments no one else sees. And maybe part of your struggle right now is that you feel unseen. You might think that no one truly understands the depth of your pain, the nights you've cried silently, the countless times you forced yourself to keep moving when your heart was breaking. But hear this, you are not invisible. The strength you show, even in silence, is noticed. Even if people around you don't see it. The world itself is shaped by those who endure quietly, who keep hope alive when it would be easier to give up. There will be days when you don't feel strong at all, when simply getting out of bed feels like a mountain too steep to climb. And that's okay. Strength is not about never falling. It's about rising again, no matter how many times you stumbled. It's about whispering to yourself, I will try again even when your voice trembles. It's about giving yourself permission to rest without shame, knowing that resting is part of the journey, not a sign of failure. In fact, struggle often teaches you compassion for yourself and for others. When you've walked through darkness, you begin to notice the shadows in other people's eyes. You begin to understand pain that once seemed distant, and slowly, without even realizing it, you become a source of comfort for those around you. The strength you gain through your own trials becomes a light for someone else lost in their storm. This is the beauty of struggle. It doesn't just shape you, it allows you to reach others in ways you never could if your path had been easy. But let's be honest, the lessons of struggle rarely feel beautiful while you're in them. They feel sharp, heavy, and relentless. You may wonder if the fight is worth it, if you'll ever see a day when the weight, and in those moments of doubt, remind yourself of one truth: storms do not last forever. No matter how fierce the winds, no matter how heavy the rain, every storm eventually passes. And when it does, you will discover that you are not the same person who walked into it. You will emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. Think of diamond. It is nothing more than a piece of coal until immense pressure transforms it into something unbreakable, something radiant. The same is true for you. The pressure you feel now is shaping you into someone brighter, someone stronger, someone capable of enduring far more than you thought possible. This struggle is not the end of you. It is the process of becoming. So when the weight of life feels unbearable, remind yourself that you are building strength with every breath you take. You are creating resilience each time you choose not to give up. You are growing in ways you cannot yet see. And though this chapter feels endless, it is preparing you for a future where your scars will tell a story of survival, not defeat. The strength you are finding now is not loud or flashy. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It is the kind of strength that will carry you through every challenge ahead. And while you may not see the transformation happening day by day, one day you will look back and realize that the struggle you thought would break you was actually the struggle that built you. And yet, even with the strength you've begun to discover within yourself, there are still moments that feel unbearably heavy, moments when you walk up to a door in your life, knock with all the hope you can muster, and realize it remains closed. You try again and again. Each attempt fueled by determination, by longing, by belief that surely this time it will open. But sometimes, no matter how hard you push, no matter how much you pray for change, the door stays shut. And in those moments you may feel defeated, as though life is keeping you on the outside of everything you've ever wanted. Closed doors can be some of the most painful experiences we encounter. They leave us with unanswered questions, with a hollow ache in our chest, with confusion that keeps us awake at night. You may find yourself asking, why wasn't I chosen? Why didn't it work out? Why is this path closed to me when I gave it everything I had? And the truth is, rejection hurts, not just in the opportunities we lose, but in what it makes us believe about ourselves. A closed door can whisper to you that you're not enough, that you've failed, that you deserve happiness. But pause for a moment and look deeper. What if those doors aren't closing to harm you, but to guide you? What if every locked door is not a punishment, but a redirection? Imagine trying to walk through a hallway where every single door opened. You would lose yourself in endless choices, constantly wandering, never finding the room that was truly meant for you. Closed doors create focus. They remove paths that were never designed to be yours. They protect you from entering places that could break you even more. Of course, in the moment, that perspective is hard to hold on to. All you see is the loss, the job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, the dream that shattered before it even had a chance to bloom. You don't yet see the paths those losses are quietly shaping. You don't yet see the future that only becomes possible because of those very endings. It feels like the door closed to shut you out, when in reality it closed to move you forward. Think back to times in your past when a door you desperately wanted never opened. At that time the pain felt unbearable. Maybe you thought your life was ruined. But now, looking back, can you see how that closed door led you to something else, something you never expected, but something that changed you? Often it's only with time that the pieces begin to make sense, revealing that what once felt like rejection was actually protection, and what once felt like loss was actually redirection. Still, I know it isn't easy to hold on to that belief while you're in the middle of disappointment. When the door shuts loudly in your face, it's natural to feel crushed. It's natural to cry, to grieve, to wonder what you did wrong. Allow yourself that grief. Don't rush to cover it with empty positivity. Your feelings are real and valid. But once you've given yourself space to feel, remind yourself gently that this isn't the end. The door that didn't open isn't the only door that exists. Life has a way of guiding you toward the ones that truly belong to you. Doors that don't require you to force your way in, but instead welcome you with ease when the time is right. Sometimes the doors that stay closed are the very ones you'll later be thankful for. Imagine walking through a door too early, before you were ready, before you had the strength and wisdom to handle what was inside. It could have crushed you, but now with the lessons you've carried, with the patience you've built, you will be prepared when the right door finally swings open. Closed doors are not denials of your worth. They are reminders that your worth isn't tied to what you gain or lose. And here's something important. The waiting you've endured, the strength you've developed, all prepare you for this moment. Every rejection, every closed path, every heartbreak has been part of building a version of you that can step through the right doors with confidence. Because when that moment comes, and it will, you will not just walk through, you will carry with you the resilience, the compassion, and the clarity you've gained from every door that stayed shut. So if you're standing before a closed door right now, hear this. It is not the end of your journey. It is only a bend in the path. Life has not forgotten you. You are not being punished. You are being redirected. You may not yet know where this new path leads, but one day you will look back and see that the very door you mourned was the one that saved you. For now, hold on to hope. Trust that even though this moment feels like rejection, it is not a reflection of your worth. You are still worthy, you are still enough, you are still moving forward, even when it feels like everything has stopped. And soon the very strength you've built in struggle, the patience you've learnt in waiting, and the faith you've held onto through closed doors will lead you into a place that feels like home. And when that door finally opens, it will not just be another chance, it will be the right chance at the right time for the person you have become through everything you've endured. And when you find yourself standing before a closed door, after the sting of rejection has settled into your chest, you arrive at a choice that quietly shapes everything that follows. You can let the disappointment harden you, pushing you toward despair, convincing yourself that nothing will ever work out. Or you can allow this very moment to become a turning point, a place where you choose growth over bitterness, hope over hopelessness, resilience over surrender. The door may be closed, but your spirit is not locked inside of it. You still hold the power to decide what story you will tell yourself about what happened. And that choice has the ability to either imprison you or set you free. It's easy to fall into despair when life doesn't unfold the way you imagined. That heavy feeling creeps in, telling you that maybe you're not meant for joy, that maybe good things simply don't belong to you. Despair whispers lies in the quiet, insisting that because one door shut, every other door will stay closed too. It tells you to stop trying, to stop caring, to stop believing. And if you listen long enough, despair can feel convincing. It can wrap around you like a cloak, making you forget who you really are and what you've already survived. But growth offers another path. Growth doesn't deny the pain of closed doors, but it asks you to see beyond them. It reminds you that even in loss, you are gaining something: wisdom, perspective, resilience, empathy. Growth says, yes, this hurt you, yes, it broke you for a while, but it didn't end you. And because of that, you are more than you were before. Choosing growth doesn't erase the ache of disappointment, but it transforms it into fuel. It gives meaning to the moments that otherwise might have left you hollow. Sometimes growth comes in small, quiet acts. It's in choosing to get up in the morning when despair tells you to stay in bed. It's in reaching out to someone when you'd rather isolate yourself. It's in forgiving yourself for not being perfect, for not getting everything right. Growth can be as subtle as shifting your inner dialogue, replacing thoughts of failure with reminders of endurance. I didn't get what I wanted, but I'm still here. I didn't win this time, but I'm still moving. And growth is often born from the very pain you once thought would destroy you. Consider how a broken bone, once healed, becomes stronger in that place than it was before. The same is true of your spirit. The cracks you carry from closed doors and heavy struggles are not signs of weakness. They are the marks of healing, evidence that you bent but did not break. Every scar you have tells a story of survival, of refusing to let despair win. Of course, choosing growth is not always easy. Despair is tempting because it requires nothing of you. It tells you to give up, to stop fighting, to let go of hope. Growth, on the other hand, demands effort. It asks you to keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It requires patience, faith, and a willingness to believe in possibilities you can't yet see. But while despair leaves you stuck, growth carries you forward. Growth takes the closed doors of your past and turns them into stepping stones, leading you closer to the place you are meant to be. And maybe right now you are standing in that tension, torn between the pull of despair and the call of growth. Maybe part of you wants to shut down, to stop trying, to let hopelessness swallow you whole. But there is another part of you, however small, that longs to keep moving. That part of you is the seed of growth. Nurture it. Feed it with the small acts of courage. Protect it from the lies of despair, because even the smallest seed of hope can grow into something unshakable if you choose to water it. Think of the stories you've heard of people who endured immense loss, yet emerged with wisdom, compassion, and strength that touched countless others. They are living proof that despair doesn't have to win, that growth is always possible, even in the darkest of seasons. And you too carry that possibility within you. You don't have to know what the next chapter looks like yet. You only have to choose in this moment not to let despair define your story. One day, when you look back, you will see that the times you chose growth were the times that shaped you most. It wasn't the easy victories or smooth paths that defined you. It was the moments when everything felt like it was falling apart and you still chose to rise. That is the kind of strength that lasts. That is the kind of growth that cannot be taken from you. So as you stand here now reflecting on the doors that closed, the struggles that tested you, and the waiting that stretched your patience, remember this: your story isn't over. The chapters ahead are still unwritten, and you have the power to shape them. Growth is not about avoiding pain, but about transforming it into something meaningful. And every choice you make in this moment, every time you choose hope over despair, action over surrender, resilience over bitterness, you are shaping a future that will reflect the strength of who you are becoming. Despair may whisper that you are finished, that nothing will change, that you are stuck forever. But growth whispers louder if you allow it to. You are still moving, you are still alive, and as long as you are breathing, there is more ahead. Hold on to that whisper. Let it guide you, steady you, and remind you that even in the hardest seasons, you are becoming someone stronger than you ever imagined. And as you keep choosing growth, even in the face of despair, something begins to shift within you. It may not happen all at once, and it may not be dramatic, but little by little you start to notice a change. The heaviness that once felt unbearable begins to feel lighter, not because the struggles have vanished, but because you are no longer carrying them in the same way. You begin to see glimmers of light in places you once thought were only filled with shadows. It could be in the kindness of a stranger, in the laughter of someone you love, in the quiet peace of a morning when your heart feels just a little less burdened than before. This light after darkness doesn't arrive like a sudden explosion. It creeps in slowly, tenderly, often when you least expect it. One day you may realize you laughed without forcing it, or that you woke up with a sense of hope that wasn't there yesterday. These are the small signs that the tide is turning, that the night is giving way to dawn. And though you may still face challenges, you begin to realize that darkness is never permanent. Just as night always gives way to morning, your struggles will eventually give way to moments of peace, healing, and joy. But here's the beauty of it. You begin to see that the light feels brighter precisely because you've known the darkness. Without the contrast, you might have overlooked it, taken it for granted. Now every spark of goodness feels precious. Every moment of relief feels sacred. The darkness you endured sharpened your vision, teaching you to notice what others might overlook. Where once you saw only emptiness, you now recognize meaning. Where once you felt abandoned, you now realize you've been guided, carried, prepared. And yet the light after darkness is not just about relief. It's about renewal. It's about the way you rise differently after what you've endured. You are not the same person you were when the storm began. You've been reshaped by every tear, every sleepless night, every unanswered question. The cracks in your heart have let the light in, and now you shine with a depth and wisdom you never had before. This is the gift of struggle, not just survival, but transformation. There may still be scars, reminders of what you've been through. And sometimes you may touch those scars and feel the echo of pain. But scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you healed. They are proof that you did not give up even when despair told you to. They are proof that the darkness did not win. And when you carry those scars with pride, they become beacons of light for others still lost in their own storms. Your survival becomes their hope. Your resilience becomes their inspiration. In this way, the light after darkness is not just for you. It ripples outward, touching lives you may never fully realize. Maybe someone sees the way you smile despite what you've endured, and it gives them strength to hold on. Maybe your words, your kindness, your presence become the very light someone else needs in their darkest hour. This is the quiet power of endurance. Your story doesn't just heal you, it becomes part of the healing of others. And here's something to hold close. Light doesn't erase darkness, but it transforms it. The memories of your struggles won't disappear, but they will no longer define you in the same way. Instead of being reminders of pain, they become reminders of survival. Instead of weighing you down, they lift you up, showing you how far you've come. The light reveals that your darkest nights were not wasted. They were necessary steps toward the person you are becoming. When you think back to the days when you felt stuck, when every door seemed closed, when waiting felt endless, remember this moment. Remember that the patience you built, the strength you discovered, the growth you chose, those were the very things that carried you to the light. Without them, you wouldn't stand where you are now, able to see the world through different eyes. And though life will bring new challenges, you now know something you didn't before. You are capable of surviving the night and reaching the morning. That knowledge is unshakable. It is a kind of freedom, because once you've walked through darkness and found light again, you know that no matter what comes, it won't defeat you. You have proven to yourself that you can endure, that you can rise, that you can find beauty again. So when the next season of darkness comes, and it will, you will remember that it is not forever. You will carry with you the memory of this light, the reassurance that morning always follows night. You will face it differently, not with despair, but with quiet confidence that you are strong enough to wait for dawn again. And each time you make it through, each time the light returns, you will grow even stronger, even wiser, even more radiant. This is the cycle of life: struggle, endurance, growth, and renewal. And though the journey is not easy, it is shaping you into someone extraordinary. The light after darkness is not just a reward, it is a revelation. It is the moment you realize that every tear watered the soil of your strength. Every delay stretched your patience. Every closed door redirected you to where you were meant to be. So breathe deeply and let this light in. Let it remind you that you were never truly lost, even in your darkest moments. You are always on your way here to a place where the shadows no longer control you, where the weight no longer defines you, where the story of your endurance shines brighter than the night that tried to silence you. This is not the end of your journey, but it is a glimpse of the reward that waits for those who refuse to give up. And as the light settles deeper into your heart, you begin to sense something even greater waiting for you beyond the struggle. It is not just relief from pain, not just the easing of burdens, but a quiet reward that feels richer than anything you could have imagined in your darkest days. You notice it first in small ways, the way your spirit feels steadier than before, the way hope no longer flickers faintly but burns with a calm and steady flame. You see it in the strength of your patience, in the wisdom you carry now, in the gentle compassion that flows from you to others, because you know what it means to hurt. This reward is not simply what you receive at the end of hardship, it is who you become through it. Perhaps you once believed that reward meant a sudden change in circumstances, a door opening instantly, a dream fulfilled overnight. But now you see it differently. You see that the real reward is layered, unfolding slowly, revealing itself in ways that transform your heart. It might arrive as an opportunity you never expected, a new chapter of life that aligns perfectly with what you once thought was delayed. It might come as peace within, the kind that no storm can shatter. It might come as joy that feels deeper because you know the cost of reaching it. And sometimes it comes as the ability to finally look back at the road you walked and whisper, it was worth it. Every step was worth it. There is a certain sweetness in rewards that follow patience, Quick victories often fade, but what is earned through endurance carries a weight that cannot be shaken. The waiting sharpens your appreciation. The struggle deepens your gratitude. When the reward finally arrives, you don't take it for granted. You hold it tenderly, cherishing it because you know how long you waited, how much you endured, how many times you almost gave up. And that reward, whether it's peace, growth, healing, or a long-awaited breakthrough, becomes a treasure not just in your hands, but in your soul. Yet there is another layer to this reward that you might only notice now. The way it softens you, the way it makes you more human, more open. You begin to notice the struggles of others in a way you never did before. Their pain touches you differently because you recognize pieces of yourself in them. Your patience, once a private battle, becomes a source of comfort for others. Your journey becomes a light for those still walking in the dark. And in that moment you realize that your reward is not only for you, it is for Fayon, who will find strength through your story. Think about how far you've come. There was a time when the wait seemed unbearable, when waiting felt like punishment, when darkness convinced you that morning would never arrive. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still hoping. That itself is a reward, the victory of not being broken by what tried to destroy you. Even before external blessings arrive, the inner resilience you now carry is proof that you have already received something priceless. But life has a way of surprising us. Just when you think you've received all there is, a new door opens. Perhaps it is an opportunity that aligns with your deepest values. Perhaps it is the healing of a relationship you thought was beyond repair. Perhaps it is the quiet arrival of a season where things finally fall into place. These moments come not because you rushed, not because you forced them, but because you endured, because you trusted that the delay was not denial, because you were willing to wait until the time was right. And when it happens, it feels different from anything else. It feels like a gift designed just for you, arriving in its own perfect season. You realize that had it come earlier, you may not have been ready to hold it. You may not have had the strength, the wisdom, the patience to honor it the way you can now. The waiting shaped you for the reward, prepared you to receive it, not with fear or doubt, but with gratitude and confidence, and that changes everything. Still, the journey doesn't end here. The reward you receive now is not the final chapter, but a milestone along the way. Life will bring new seasons of waiting, new storms to weather, new nights to endure. But this time, you are different. This time, you know that patience is not emptiness, that waiting is not wasted time, that darkness does not last forever. This time, you carry the memory of your reward, the proof that endurance leads to blessings, the assurance that you will never walk in vain. So let yourself embrace this moment. Let yourself feel the sweetness of what patience has brought you. Let the scars on your soul remind you not of pain, but of resilience. Let the reward in front of you fill you with gratitude, not only for what you gained, but for the strength you discovered along the way. And then carry this forward into every new chapter of your life. Because there will be more trials, yes, but there will also be more light. There will be more nights, but there will also be more dawns. And with each one, you will rise a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more radiant. This is the rhythm of life, to endure, to wait, to grow, and to receive. And each time, the reward becomes richer, because it is built upon the patience you carried through the storm. So breathe in this truth. You have not been forgotten. Your struggles were not meaningless. Your waiting was not wasted. Every tear was seen, every step was guided, every delay was purposeful. And now, as you stand here, wrapped in the glow of the light after darkness, you are living proof that patience is never in vain. The reward may not always look the way you first imagined, but it will always be greater, deeper, and more beautiful than you ever expected. This is the quiet promise of life, that the struggles you endure will shape you, The patience you practice will strengthen you, and the reward you receive will remind you that every moment of waiting was leading you here. And as you carry this truth forward, may you walk into every new season, not with fear, but with trust, not with despair, but with hope, not with heaviness, but with the quiet assurance that no struggle is wasted, no night is endless, and no patient heart is left unrewarded.